It's finally here. Almost 4 years after its initial launch, Mercedes have finally brought the EQA electric SUV to India. Now, has it been worth the wait? Well, we have a whole day with it here in the beautiful city of Jaipur to find out. But we're also at the equally stunning Taj Rambagh Palace. So why not take advantage of this location, and we'll have a good look at the car outside and in, and then of course we're going to head out on a drive. Now the EQA is essentially the electric version of the GLA, so essentially they look very similar, but there are some distinguishing features, and you can see that right up front here from the grille, the big sealed off grille, and it's covered in the Mercedes tri-pointed stars. Also unique to the electric version is the DRLs. They extend from the headlights all the way across the bonnet like a horizontal light bar into the other headlight as well. So that's what distinguishes the electric version from the ICE counterpart. The rest of the car, of course, looks the same, and we've got this, I have to talk about that peacock there, the gorgeous blue which kind of matches that lovely peacock blue. It's a lovely color. What do you think? Let us know in the comments, and of course while you're there, don't forget to subscribe to the Autocar India channel, because we've always got some fantastic reviews lined up for you. Now at the side, things are pretty similar, but you do have different wheels. They are 19 inches and aero wheels for obviously the all-important range. So like the front, the rear too gets the connected light treatment. So the tail lights are connected by this really large light bar. That's on the EV version. Since we're here, let's take a look at the boot. Now, as you can see, we've got 4 bags in here. This one is a cabin bag, so you can get 4 cabin bags in. Boot space is lower as you would expect in an EV because of the batteries. So it's 340 liters, and on the petrol version you have about 425. The rear seat also has a 3-section fold down in case you need more luggage space. At the front, however, there is no frunk. Now, as with many EVs, you do sit with a very knees up position, and even if you extend your feet forward here, your knees are still higher, and that's a shame really, but that's because of the battery down below the floor. The rest of the area though is just fine. As you can see, I've got ample leg room. This driving seat is set to my position. I'm 5'8", so there's enough leg room. Headroom is adequate, and interestingly, the electric version has this armrest, this flip down armrest, which is not there on the ICE versions, and that's because the ICE version uses a different seat thanks to there being a subwoofer down below. And as for other features here, you have rear AC vents, 2 USB slots, pop-out cup holders, and a dual-pane sunroof. Now at the front, it is very familiar to many other Mercs, and that's a really nice thing. So you'll find the air vents, the steering boss, this dual screen setup. I particularly like the IP panel, which like other Mercs is very customizable with options for funky displays or neat and clear dials. The dual bar steering looks sporty and has touch surface controls, but buttons would have been much better. And there's loads more features like the Burmeister audio system, extensive ambient lighting, a color HUD, an augmented reality navigation display, a full connectivity suite with features like pre-cooling and preheating the car, and there's an ADAS suite too that includes autonomous parking. Onto the tech specs now. The 250 plus EQA's front motor makes a modest 190 horsepower and 385 Newton meters of torque, but it has a healthy claimed range of 560 kilometers on the WLTP cycle from its 70.5 kilowatt-hour battery. So what's it like from behind the wheel? 190 horsepower isn't a real lot, but I have to say I'm pleasantly surprised because performance is good. Put your foot down like this, and as you can see, you'll be able to safely and quickly overtake moving traffic. Off the line too, it moves off smartly with a 0 to 100 km/h time of 8.6 seconds, which is very respectable. Just don't expect that lightning quick, pin you to the back, electric kind of acceleration. That's what you won't get here. Now there are drive modes and all of them are pretty usable. Eco mode, I'm really happy to say, is usable in everyday scenarios, especially in the city when you're really going slow. You can feel a heavier sort of throttle and a dulled response, but it isn't strangulated. At 190 horsepower, I expected the car to be really strangulated and in eco mode, but that's not the case. One thing though, when switching between modes, you should bear in mind that the speed will change. So for example, if I'm in eco mode and I go to sport, at the same throttle position, there's a marked increase in speed. And that's not typical of any other car when you change the mode. And when going to a lower mode, there will be a drop in pace too. The suspension is set up with a comfort bias and there's noticeable pitch and squat with changes in pace, and body roll during spirited cornering too. The good news though is that while it may not be an enthusiastic handler, it's great in the city, and especially low to medium speed ride is really good. There's a pothole there. We just went through it. I don't know if you heard that, but it just soaked it all up. And what's really nice is it sounds and feels quite far away from you. So you and your passengers will be nicely isolated. What's not comfortable though are these seats. They're actually really firm. Very similar to the EQB, whose seats are also on the firm side. Grip is good and the steering weight is just right. I would have preferred it a little firmer, but on the whole, I think customers generally prefer a lighter steering setup, and so this one again is dialed in a little more towards comfort. A handy feature of the onboard maps is this augmented reality display. As you can see, when there's a turn coming up, it will bring in the camera feed from the front and overlay a blue arrow that moves and indicates exactly which lane you should be in and also when and where to turn. It's another handy tech feature in addition to the many others on board, and that's really what's going to help the EQA. Mercedes, I think, have been really clever in opting for the 250 trim, because you get a fantastic range. At least the claimed range is 560 km, so we'll find out soon enough in our road tests, but it's obviously going to be more than its competitors, and I think that with an adequate level of performance is a smart strategy. And that's what Mercedes is banking on with the EQA, a clever strategy of an adequate level of performance, an even better range, and an extensive feature list. What's left to see now is how smart Mercedes is on pricing. That will be out by the time you see this video, so we'll have it pinned in the comments. But as it stands, it should be under its main rival, the BMW iX1. So if you're looking for a well-equipped and easygoing luxury EV, make sure you have the EQA on your shortlist.